Can the Boston Red Sox snap their losing streak against Christian Yelich and the Milwaukee Brewers? Shohei Ohtani continues his dominance in Cleveland, and Ellie De La Cruz has a big night in KC. This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome to MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. J.D. Hafron of Locked On Cardinals. Jon Frisch of Locked On Angels. Cubs and Rockies needed some bonus baseball at Wrigley. Shohei Ohtani, the first to this particular benchmark here in 2025. And the Pirates, shocking the Snakes. But we start in Milwaukee, or as they call it, John, Milwaukee, which Alice Cooper taught us means the good land. Although I'm told that's not factually accurate. Your thoughts?
Well, you know what? Wayne's World rocks, so let's go with it. How about that?
Okay, we'll do that. Red Sox at the Milwaukee Brewers. Red Sox, they dropped their third in a row against the Brewers in last night's game. This game was a pitcher's duel, knotted at one late in this one. Chuck from Locked On Brewers is with us to tell us how this one ended in grand fashion.
And Christian Yelich is the hero of this game. How you doing again, everybody? Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. Christian Yelich. Brewers had just 3 hits through 8 innings. Christian Yelich leads off the bottom of the 9th inning with a double, scores the tying run, then hits a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning. How about that? Christian Yelich comes through. Unbelievable. And 26,000 go home happy. And the Brewers now have won 3 in a row. And they're back to the 500 mark for the first time since May 5th. Brewers get the win. We'll talk about it a little bit later on tonight on the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Yeah, back to 500 for the Brewers, starting to feel a little better about themselves right in the middle of the NL Central at this moment. For those of you watching online on the YouTube version side of it, the microphone that he's using there, not exactly Bob Barker, John. That's an old school microphone Chuck's got. We gotta hook him with an upgrade.
You know what? He can do that as long as he wants, considering he's in that press box and the fans are still going, what an atmosphere. He got to do that post-game video, and that's so
Absolutely.
cool.
Well, with every winner, we got losers as well. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, they dropped their 4th in a row, tied for the longest losing streak in baseball. Here's Gabby from Locked On Red Sox. She's none too pleased with what she saw.
Time for the Boston Red Sox to make a serious change, and I truly suggest that starts with the coaching staff. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, as the Red Sox unfortunately fell 5-1 against the Milwaukee Brewers tonight, and it's just night after night the Red Sox finding a new creative way to lose the game. In this case, they were not hitting, and they haven't been hitting well at all for the past few days, and Alex Bregman missing from the lineup is definitely a huge factor in that, but they keep running it back with the same guys over and over again. Trevor Story continues to be in the lineup every day, and he is not hitting successfully. The coaching has been an issue because they've made no adjustments, even despite the fact that certain guys are struggling in certain areas. And until the Red Sox make a serious change to the coaching, nothing's going to change, and the Red Sox are going to continue to lose games. Check out Locked On Red Sox on any podcast platform for more.
Aroldis Chapman blew the save in this one. First one he's blown this season. Normally pretty good, but you can tell things are getting frustrating in Boston. I was watching this one, and the remaining members of the Red Sox, they were in the dugout afterwards. They just look so defeated, and they're now 27-30. They're 8.5 back of the Yankees. That's quite a mountain when you see how good the New York Yankees are this season. John, is it over for the Sox in the division?
I don't know if it's over for them in the division. I mean, look, they have the ability to at least get into wild card contention because look, they came into the season with, quite a potent lineup. And I know they're missing Bregman right now. To want Trevor Story out of the lineup, that's surprising to me, but Gabby knows better than I do, but I never would have expected get Story out of here. Right. And so that's obviously a problem, but they made the big moves that they needed to be in contention with acquiring Garrett Crochet and whatnot. So, man, I just don't think that they're going to be out of it completely. It's we're turning the calendar over to June here soon. I say give it some time. Let's get to those dog days of summer before we close the book on the Red Sox in the East.
Moving on to Chicago, another game that went all the way to the end this time. Rockies and Cubs facing off in Game 2 of their series. Let's hear from Sam Olber, Locked On Cubs. He explains why this one was the definition of just win, baby.
Just win, baby. The Cubs walk off the Rockies in 11 by a score of 4-3. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. It was another not pretty game for the Cubs offense. I think part of that was due to the conditions at Wrigley Field, which we'll talk about on the show tonight, but they found a way to win. Cade Horton was really good. The bullpen, for the most part, was really, really good. My hero tonight was Chris Flexen. What a job by him, going 2 innings with the ghost runner on second, only allowing one of the 2 ghost runners to score, gave the Cubs a chance. Big stolen base there from Pete, who had a rough night. In the 11th, a Michael Busch check swing, and then Matt Shaw. Welcome back. You go, you get sent down, you work on your game, you come back, you have a moment like that. That's why sports is so beautiful. Cubs win. Look, wasn't pretty? Just win, baby. Just win. You got to beat these bad teams. Who cares how it looks? You can't score 12, 13 runs every single game. Nice job by the fellas tonight. Go for the sweep tomorrow.
Yeah, Matt Shaw obviously has been a nice addition to that lineup, which is already stacked with some pretty good hitters. Meanwhile, on the Colorado side of things, Britton Doyle hit his 5th home run of the season, kind of the one little highlight that we have for Colorado. They've lost 4 in a row again. They're 9-46 on the year. Do you think Rockies fans are just numb to all of this yet, or does a game like this where you were up on the Cubs late in extra innings, and does this still sting, or are you just like, I don't even know what's happening anymore?
I think it has to sting, because anytime that you're in a game where it's like, all right, are we going to get that 10th win of the season? Are we finally going to hit double digits? And we've been doing a lot of MLB Game Night over the last 2 months, and I can remember close games between the Rockies and the Dodgers, but eventually the Dodgers ran away with it, just like the Cubs were able to run away with it. So it's not as if all of their games are super bad and ugly. Now, I know that they had, I think it was like a 21-0 loss a couple of weeks ago, but man, it just, these games have to sting, especially if you're a Rockies fan.
Yeah, when you're that close and you can taste it almost, and then it's just gone. Gotta be really, really frustrating. A guy that doesn't lose a whole lot, that Shohei Ohtani guy, John, he's doing things again. He's doing them again. Special things in this game we call baseball. We're going to talk about it next, coming up on MLB Game Night. Whoa. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. Nope, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts. You can track your investments and do your spending, and you do it all in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. And it's very convenient to get things delivered to your house. I know that we all do it, but sometimes you don't realize how much money you're actually spending on those deliveries. And Monarch Money can help you budget smarter, help you save more. And instead of juggling multiple apps to do that, you just get Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and can even help you plan long-term with you and your spouse. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for half off your first year. Once again, welcome into MLB Game Night. Dodgers and Guardians taking place in Cleveland. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. What's left to really say about these guys? Like they're absolute menace to this game of Major League Baseball because they're so good. Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers with us to explain how this offense, it continues to shine.
Well, that's 2 games in a row that the whole offense decided to get involved. I'd say that's a good formula for the Dodgers. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. Dodgers beat the Guardians 9-5. Wasn't even that close. Luis Garcia gave up a couple meaningless runs in the bottom of the 9th. But Dodgers got home runs for Shohei Ohtani. No surprise. Max Muncy, bit of a surprise. Michael Conforto, who? And everybody in the starting lineup got a hit. Bunch of guys scored. You put up 9 runs, you're going to win a bunch of games. Dustin May was fine. Got through 5 innings. Gave up a big 3-run homer, but otherwise was pretty solid. And all in all, this was the offense winning this game and saying, we don't care who's pitching, how well he does. We're going to win this game for us. That's what the Dodgers did. And there's 2 games in a row now that the offense has really showed up. Hopefully that's something they can keep going, finishing up this series in Cleveland and then heading home to take on the Yankees. Be sure to check out Locked On Dodgers first thing every weekday morning on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts.
You got Jeff there and Michael Conforto, who aren't they paying him like $17 million?
Yeah.
Like, must be nice to just be whatever. Who cares? Who cares if that guy's doing anything?
A lot of people were
calling
calling
about
for
this team. Obviously, is Shohei Ohtani doing what he's been doing. He's been on fire recently, hasn't he, John?
Yeah, his 3rd straight game and with a home run. Not a leadoff home run this time, but that's that's what you do with Ohtani, right? Well, it was his 3rd game with a home run, but no, it wasn't a leadoff homer because that's all there is to say about Shohei Ohtani. It's like he does everything well. First guy to 20 home runs in the majors as of today. So that's just that's Shohei doing Ohtani things, baby.
You got to see him up close and personal with the Angels. Is he the best player you've ever seen?
Man, just wait till he gets back on the mound. I cannot wait for that. And I know that people are clamoring for it, but I will say he had his surgery in 2018, wasn't really ready to come back to the mound until after the shortened 2020 season. He tried to get in there a couple of starts and it just wasn't working out. But then 2021 is when he became Shohei Ohtani. So to witness what he was able to do over those couple of years that he was in Anaheim, man, best player I've ever seen. I gotta say yes. I mean, for me in person and the my 36 years of seeing baseball in front of me and witnessing it on the field, he's got to be the best, JD.
Yeah, he's something special. I saw some live BP that he was throwing the other day, and they weren't even close to touching him. Like, it was hilarious. Like, it's like he's got even more movement on his pitches. I'm like, well, okay, we're in trouble. Yeah. Moving on. Nationals at the Mariners. Seattle finds themselves neck and neck with the Astros in the AL West, taking on a young, talented, but in my opinion, underachieving Washington Nationals team so far this season. We got Ty Gonzalez from Locked On Mariners here on what went down at T-Mobile Park.
How about that for getting some linked out of the rotation? This is Ty Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Mariners beat the Nationals 9-1 tonight at T-Mobile Park, and you'd think with a final score like that the story coming out of this one would be the offense, right? Well, I mean, the offense was good. Don't get me wrong. They scored 9 runs tonight, and I mean, Cal Raleigh set a major league record tonight. No big deal. His 2 home runs of the night gives him 19 on the season, which is the most by any catcher ever in his team's first 53 games of a season, surpassing Roy Campanella for that mark. Shout out to Sarah Langs for that stat. However, the real story in this game was actually Logan Evans, the Mariners starter in this one. He gives them 8 strong innings. Did give up quite a bit of hard contact, didn't miss a ton of bats, but the Nationals were hyper aggressive, which kept his pitch count incredibly low. And outside of a solo home run by James Wood, the Nationals, despite all that hard contact, didn't do any damage against Evans. And if it weren't for that home run, we would have been on Maddox watch tonight. Because again, the pitch count was insanely low. And it was only at 88 pitches once his night finally wrapped up. He could have easily gone back out there to go the distance. Kind of disappointed in Dan Wilson for not allowing him to do that, but whatever. Mariners get off to a good start in the series. We'll see if they can win it either tomorrow or on Thursday, and we'll talk to you on the Locked On Mariners podcast tomorrow. Peace.
Ty mentioned the 2 dingers for the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, today, putting him second in MLB with home runs. He's first in the AL, but Shohei hitting his 20th, so he's in first place. So some big names there with Cal. You got Aaron Judge, Cal Schwarber, Corbin Carroll, Eugenio Suarez. Where does he rank as far as best nicknames with the big dumper, John? Is that one of the greatest you've ever heard?
I hate it. I'm a generational Mariners hater as an Angels fan, but to be fair, Ty is a generational Angels hater. So, he can thank the Angels for keeping Aaron Judge off the board in these last 2 games between the Yankees and the Angels, because now Cal Raleigh has that American League lead in home runs, as you mentioned, with 19. Aaron Judge still at 18. So you're welcome, Mariners fans. You're welcome. Should I put this one on, JD, while I'm talking trash here?
Yes, you should always represent. Don't ever hide your Angels love. Twins and Rays meet for the game 2 of their series after the Rays took game 1 on Monday. We got Brandon from Locked On Twins. He's got some numbers for us, pitching numbers, magic numbers. Here's Brandon.
Cody Clemens hit another homer, and Joe Ryan danced in and out of danger all night long as the Twins got back into the win column in Tampa on Tuesday night. 4-2. Your Twins are now 30-24 and in sole possession of second place in the AL Central. This is Brandon Warren with your Locked On Twins post-game minute. The Twins reached their magic number of 4 runs in this one, though they needed some help. Clemens hit the home run in the second, but the other run scored via a sac fly, a fielding error, and an opposite field single by Mr. Rispy Business himself, Ty France. Ryan completed 6 innings on 85 pitches, the third time he's done that this season in 85 pitches or fewer. And he stranded a runner on third in the first and second in the third, and Carlos Correa nabbed Jonathan Aranda's stealing home, or at least attempting to, on a double steal in the second. Griffin Jacks struck out the side in the 8th as he continues his road back to form. He struck out the side 3 times this season already. Fun fact, the Twins improved to 14-5 this season when they score in the first inning. Up next, Twins sending Pablo Lopez to the mound against Drew Rasmussen in the series finale at George M. Steinbrenner Field Wednesday afternoon. First pitch, 12:10 p.m. We'll have full coverage. This is Locked On Twins.
John, you're kind of a fan of Joe Ryan, right?
I do like Joe Ryan. I think he's one of the more underrated starters in the league. He's got a 1.86 ERA in the month of May, 2.57 ERA on the season. He's not going to walk you. He can strike you out, and he's going to make you whiff up there. He's going to make you look foolish. And so, I think he's having a very underrated season. If you're a fantasy player and for some reason he's out there, go snag Joe Ryan immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Cardinals in Baltimore to take on the Orioles. My Cardinals were able to take a 3-0 lead early on in this one after a slow day at the plate on Monday. Yeah. Baltimore got a 3-run shot from Ryan O'Hearn to take the lead 4-3 in this one. But the Cardinals were able to get 3 in the 8th inning after tying the game. Nolan Arenado hit a go-ahead solo shot. They got back-to-back triples from Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, which is really good for the Cardinals because, the whole point of the season was supposed to be we're going to transition and we're going to go this way with the youth and stuff. Right. And to see some of the guys that are supposed to lead that charge youth-wise for this team to do some big things in this game was nice to see. Ryan Helsley picks up his 11th save of the season. I got a stat for you, John, and I want you to see if this blows your mind or not. 19 appearances so far this year for the closer, Ryan Helsley, who was the NL closer of the year last year. Yeah. So he's pretty good. How many clean innings do you think he has?
Ooh, well, 11 saves. Man.
I got 19 appearances.
19 appearances. I got to say, maybe at least 15.
3. The man has 3.
Oh, my gosh.
Either he walks a dude, somebody gets a hit, he hits a guy, something happens, and he did it again tonight. Wow. And now it's almost comical. When we watch it, we're like, well, Helsley's going to put somebody on. It's going to happen. It's wild to me that, and he's still, completing the saves, but he makes everything so stressful. Yeah. So that series now tied 1 game apiece. A lot of rain in the Baltimore area. coming up on Wednesday. So we'll see if they actually get to complete that game. If not, they'll probably push it to Thursday. Let's take you to Kansas City, where the Cincinnati Reds were there looking for some consistency in their lineup. Royals just trying to find any offense whatsoever to go with what's been an outstanding pitching staff so far this year. We got Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, who's got a lot of enthusiasm for a certain guy who plays shortstop in the Queen City.
De La Cruz, Kansas City barbecued 2 baseballs against the Royals, and the Reds got the series win. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And Brady Singer was amazing on the mound in his first start against his former team, just allowing 2 runs in 7 innings, especially after settling down a rocky start to this one. But he really settled in about the 4th inning. But that was not to be outdone by the fact that Elly De La Cruz took over this ballgame with 2 long balls, the second of which I think has landed. I think by right now it's probably hit the ground, because he absolutely tattooed that baseball. The Reds played add-on late in this game. TJ Friedl with some great base running as well. But it was Elly De La Cruz's 2 homers that really set the tone. Because after that point, the bullpen game for the Royals was completely blown up. They were just trying to play damage control, and it felt like Brady Singer could really settle in. If Elly keeps doing this, this is exactly what we've been looking for.
John, got 2 excellent shortstops in this particular series. You're starting a team. Who you choosing, Elly De La Cruz or Bobby Witt Jr.?
You know, as an Angels fan, I've heard a lot of, this guy, he's the next Mike Trout. And I've heard that over and over and over and over again. But I will say, if anybody's come close to that, it's Bobby Witt Jr. So if I'm starting a team with either one of these shortstops, give me Bobby Witt Jr. every day of the week, man, because he is just consistent. He does everything right. And he's somebody that I would definitely start a team with.
Yeah, he's pretty darn good. Elly, got the switch hitting thing going on. And don't look now, 11 home runs, 40 RBIs. Like, nobody's been talking about Elly this year. In fact, there's usually a lot of complaining about him when it comes from what's going on in Cincinnati right now. And he's actually not having as bad a season as most people would like to think he's having. Right. Braves at the Phillies. Phillies chasing the Tigers for the most wins in baseball. Braves hoping that Spencer Strider will return to form after his return from the IL. We got Mark, host of Locked On Phillies postcast, with his thought on the start the Phils got from Ranger Suarez.
Ranger Suarez, another scoreless effort from Ranger Suarez. Ever since he allowed 7 runs in his 2025 debut, he has been lights out. 3 scoreless efforts of his last 4 starts as he improves to 4-0. He gets 8 strikeouts against the Braves. And by the way, he's gone 6 innings or more in each of those 4 starts. Number 2, I look at Max Kepler, starting to swing a hotter bat here for the Phillies. Had the big home run, obviously, against the A's in Sacramento, and then also came up with an RBI double in the right center field gap to help the Phillies get that 1-0 lead in the 2nd inning. Little base running blunder, but they still provided the run. Then also worked a walk in the 8th inning to help the Phillies along to their insurance run, to be able to give Matt Strahm and Jordan Romano an extra run to work with. Number 3, Bryce Harper. Left the game in the 1st inning after taking a 95-mile-per-hour fastball up and in from Spencer Strider. The X-rays were negative after the game.
All right, that's all we got from
That's
Mark.
all we got. Well, that's a Philly guy if I've ever seen one right there. I love that energy.
He was getting ready to talk about Spencer Strider. 4 2/3 innings, 1 run, 7 Ks, but 4 walks. Pitch count got up to 90 quickly. Braves, they just got Acuna back. They got Strider back, but they're 9.5 games back behind the Philadelphia Phillies, who are playing really, really well. Too tall of a mountain to climb, John?
Not with the Braves. Come on. Yeah. You got Acuna back. You got your rotation coming back. You've got guys like Schwellenbach in that rotation. I think the Braves can make it interesting. If the Red Sox can make it interesting by the summer, like I said, I think the Braves can do the same thing.
Aaron Judge and the Yankees were in Anaheim and had a tight one against your Angels. John, we're going to talk about that next, coming up on MLB Game Night. All right, so we got Yankees at Angels. We're going to start. Usually we let John talk first on these, but instead we're going to start with Brian from Locked On Yankees to tell us why he and all the Yankees fans almost had themselves a heart attack today.
Yankees universe can breathe a sigh of relief as the Yankees get their 8th straight series victory by defeating the Angels in Game 2 of the series. They'll look to go for the sweep later on tomorrow. And Aaron Boone gave the Yankee fans an absolute masterclass on how to almost mess up a bullpen by Luke Weaver not being available and Devin Williams almost blowing the same opportunity. We'll be talking about all that and much more, believe me, on this week's editions of Locked On Yankees. Me and Stacey Gotsoulias all week, available wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, Carlos Rodon, let's stop calling him a number 2. He's an ace. He's a number 1. We're discussing that all week.
Your thoughts on what you heard there and what you felt about this game?
He's not wrong about Carlos Rodon. He was the star of the game. 7 scoreless, 10 Ks, 5 hits. The Angels made it easy on him, too. They were chasing a ton of stuff off the plate. In fact, he mentioned Devin Williams. I would venture to say that the Angels hitting was so bad in this one that Aaron Boone was like, yeah, why not send 7 Devin Williams out there, because he got that save opportunity. But Angels did make it interesting in the bottom of the 9th. Moncada had a leadoff homer. The Angels got another one on a Joe Adell RBI ground out. Logan O'Hoppe had a pinch hit pop out to end the game, unfortunately. To their credit, JD, Tyler Anderson and the pitching staff kept Aaron Judge quiet, 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts with runners on base as well. Lowered his average a whole 0.003 points from 398 to 395 on the season right now.
Just doing your part to keep history safe. No right. 400 batter this year. All right, moving on to that other team that plays in New York. We've got the Mets hosting the White Sox. Coming into this one, Mets 20-6 at home. They are incredibly good at home. Did they keep that magic up? We got Chris Schubert telling us how this one with the White Sox went down at Citi Field.
The New York Mets continue to be a wagon at home as they defeat the White Sox 6-4 to push their home record at Citi Field this season to a whopping 21-6. Chris Schubert, host of the Mets Postcast and Locked On Mets YouTube channel. It was a 4-run first inning, all 4 runs being scored with 2 outs, all 4 runs being scored via a pair of 2-run home runs that fueled the New York Mets victory. That situational hitting, the 2-out hitting that has been missing for the Mets for a majority of the season, showed up in a big way tonight. That 4-run first, and then Francisco Lindor adding an insurance run in the 8th inning with a 2-out single to give the Mets a 2-run lead for Reed Garrett, who picked up his 2nd save in 3 days. So a team right now that is just taking care of business. It's not always pretty. The White Sox in town, an opportunity to go on an extended winning streak after winning the last 2 games against the Dodgers. The Mets are doing exactly what they are supposed to do.
It's funny is they're getting wins and stuff, and then Juan Soto sitting there hitting 228 so far this season. So the fact that they're still winning games and not getting a whole lot of Juan,
right,
kind of impressive, right?
Yeah, look, it's that first year jitters, I suppose. I mean, look, Lindor didn't have a great first year with the Mets either, and now he's one of the best players in baseball right now. So give it time. Juan Soto will come around. It's not my money. It's Jeff Cohen's money, right? If you're a Mets fan. So, no refunds needed here. Juan Soto will come around.
Yeah, I always like it when fans are like, we're paying him this much. And like, no, you're not. He is
right.
The owner.
And they don't care about
They
don't care about the luxury tax either. So it doesn't matter how much they spend.
Who cares if they spend? What does that matter? A's and Astros, AL West matchup. Got the Astros facing these A's, hoping to keep pace with the Seattle Mariners and a chance to take some games from the struggling A's, who they had lost 11 in a row before getting a win against the Phillies on Sunday. Here's Brett from Locked On Astros with his thoughts on the Astros' domination in this one.
Almost Los Houston Astros. The GOAT is back. That's right. Hello, I'm H. John Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros. That's how you beat a team that should be beat. You remember how they struggled in the past against teams that weren't any good? Well, 11-1 would tell another story. Hunter Brown, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Hunter Brown, another superb outing. Paredes, 2 for 5. Jose Altuve, a 4-hit game. And Chas McCormick was kind of overshadowed. He had 2 hits tonight. He was 2 for 4. He looked great, but the 7, 8, and 9 hitters all had a hit, all contributed. And you had Cam Smith, the rookie, get a double that scored 2. You love to see that. The Astros continue winning. Can they keep this up versus the Athletics? Can they keep the heat on Seattle and eventually be in first place by the end of this next week? Stay tuned into Locked On Astros. We're your team every day.
One of the pitchers for the Astros that's impressed you, John, Hunter Brown.
Yeah, nice bounce back performance. He gave up 5 earnings to the Rays last week, but he's got an even 2 ERA on the season right now. He has been clutch for the Astros this season.
Pirates at the Diamondbacks. Now, I was keeping count here on my own. NL Central. All right. Cubs won.
Right.
Cardinals won.
Right.
Brewers won. Reds won. All right. Pirates, you're on the clock here in Arizona. Arizona trying to stack some wins together after going on a bit of a skid recently. And early on in this one, they were all over the Pittsburgh Pirates, but that's why they played 9 innings. Here's Gary from Locked On Pirates on an incredible game in the desert.
Come storming all the way back from down 6-0 going into the 6th as Corbin Burnes is pitching a gem. Hi, this is Gary Morgan from Locked On Pirates. Super fun ending to a ball game that certainly was a tale of 2 ball games. They started out looking lifeless, like they had no chance to win this one. And then an injury to Joey Bart inserts Henry Davis into the game, and in his first at bat, boom, 2-run shot. Then Canario makes a beautiful play in center field. Beautiful play. Brian Reynolds goes 4 hits in this one, including a 3-run homer. It was on base 5 times. June Reynolds could be on the verge of breaking out here. And if you're from here, you know what I'm talking about. Really good, but the feel-good aspect of this one is mostly about it being led by Henry Davis. Super important, hoping to see a little stretch of playing time here. Not that I'm hoping Bart's injured, but I am hoping Henry gets a little bit more opportunity here. Boy, they could use the power he could provide.
Former number 1 overall pick, Henry Davis, back in
Right.
2021, and people have been kind of waiting, like, is this guy a bust or what's going on? And looks like he had himself a nice one tonight. Moving on to, by the way, NL Central, sweeping the night.
Right.
Good job, everybody. Good
There
job,
you
everybody. Marlins at Padres. Marlins beat the Padres for game 2, and guess what? There was some crying and baseball today, John. What happened?
Oh my goodness. We're going to turn it over to Jeremiah to tell us where the emotions came from in this one. He's from Locked On Marlins. Here we go.
It really can't get much worse than that. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. The Marlins put up 6 runs in the top half of the first inning. They didn't score again. They lose to the Padres 8-6. And Ronnie Simon, I feel so bad for him. 3 errors. He was crying on the field. He was removed from the game. It was just a nightmarish day or night for Ronnie Simon, someone that has battled his whole career to make it to the major leagues. I just want to say, keep your head up, Ronnie. The whole team, the whole fan base stands behind you. Max Meyer, he didn't pitch well. Didn't get a single strikeout. That's going to be lost behind the fact of all the errors from Simon. But Max Meyer didn't record a single strikeout. Padres, they're a good team. They battled back and they found a way to win. But when the offense can't score for 8 straight innings and you have those errors, that's what's going to happen. I'm ready to get out of San Diego.
Said no one ever, right?
I know. What? That's a shame. That's 2 people we've had crying on the field this year. Sasaki was crying for the Dodgers earlier this year about baseball stuff. You can cry for other things, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's 2 now. That's strange. All right, Giants at the Tigers. Another pitcher's duel there. Giants had Logan Webb on the mound in Detroit against Jack Flaherty. Scott Bentley has the result of this pitcher's duel.
Oops.
Well, that's how you draw it up right there. That is an absolutely beautiful win against one of the best starting pitchers in all of baseball. I'm Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers. That's a 3-1 win for Detroit in Detroit over the San Francisco Giants. They're now up 2-0 in the series going into a Jackson Jobe start tomorrow. Jack Flaherty with the start today goes 6 innings of shutout ball. His ERA is now back under 4. The fastball was really working for him, one of the biggest difference makers there. And then the curveball was absolutely fantastic as well. Good to see him get the command back under control. Riley Green goes 3 for 4 with 2 doubles, drives a couple of runs in. Wenceel Perez, his first at-bat of the season, back from injury, and it's a home run off of Logan Webb. Absolutely fantastic. That is how the 2025 Detroit Tigers win ball games. They do just enough offensively. They pounce early, and then the pitching carries them to victory. And they now have the most wins in all of baseball doing such. We'll see if they can keep it rolling tomorrow.
Another win for the Tigers. Final game of the night, Blue Jays at the Rangers. A couple of should be great offenses searching for it right now. Blue Jays took game 1 against the Rangers on Monday with a 2-1 victory. This one was a pitcher's duel between DeGrom and Gausman. Rangers probably expected another stellar outing from Nathan Eovaldi. That did not happen, did it, John?
No, he left the game after the second inning with triceps fatigue. So it's precautionary, not expected to miss any time. Fortunately for the Rangers, they kept the Blue Jays off the board and scoreless. It was Josh Young causing all the damage at the plate and on the base paths. He singles in the first run of the game, steals second, and then a throwing error allows Wyatt Langford to score the second run of the game. Rangers take this one 2-0. So there you go. They're still searching for offense, but the Rangers had just enough in this one.
All right, and that'll wrap things up for us. Thank you for joining us for this episode of MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope you guys will come back and visit us next time right here on MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.